Cool, it started. Hello. Okay, I really wanted to talk about my insight to Interview with a Vampire. I was reading it this evening and I've been putting off reading it for, I'm gonna say about 2 weeks, few weeks or so, because I finally got to the part where Louis and Claudia go to Paris and they meet the coven of vampires led by Armand. Of course, it would almost die. Okay. So, while I guess I stopped reading it because it got a little complicated. Like the surroundings became complicated. There was so much detail by Louis, especially with how he was feeling and everything, and it was a lot to process. Well, I was at a friend's house and I started reading it again, and I was like, all right, you gotta get through this part because you gotta finish the book. So I start reading and continue, and then Armand is leading Louis and Claudia down into his coven's home, which is under the theater, from what I understand. And I have seen the movie a lot before I've read this, so I kind of know a little bit of what happens, but not the difference between the book and the movie because I've never read the book. So I have a little bit of pre-insight anyway, but reading it is so much different, as with any book and movie. So, anyway, they're being led down underground, and they are speaking with Armand. And Louis and Armand start to discuss the idea between evil and good, and how Louis feels like basically their existence is just evil, and that evil is evil, but there are variations to good. And basically, it was all based around the fact that Louis is searching for God, and he feels like he is a child of Satan, that vampires are children of Satan, and that there are children of God, and then children of, Satan. Sorry for the repetitiveness. But Armand and him discuss, and Armand basically says, hey, I have no proof of either of this. I've never known a vampire to have proof of any of this. And he's like 400 years old. So Louis is just like, well, shit. Nothing is going to change. And he has that intense moment of having to accept that what he's been searching for so long is basically null and void. So he already has this issue with coming to terms with reality. And then during this process, Armand, they go back out Louis leaves Armand because he needs a minute to himself. And then there's this other vampire, Santiago, who is just a real jackass, okay? I never liked him. I never liked him in the movie, and I certainly as hell don't like him in the book either. He's that, like, weird, what is it called? Like that, the people that just act things out but don't talk. I would know that if I wasn't trying to talk about it right now. Hold on. This is gonna drive me crazy. Wow. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like a clown, but like no, not a clown. I don't know. If someone watches this and knows what I'm talking about, please let me know. Um, so anyway, when he first meets Louis, he antagonizes him. Like, this guy loves to antagonize people, okay? So Louis outside, sitting on the stairs or whatever, and this guy comes down trying to prod Louis. But Louis, being the empathetic person that he is, feels what this guy's trying to do. And without even realizing it, I think, he doesn't, it's like, Louis is so aware of what's going on in his surroundings, but while it's happening, he doesn't know how to describe it. And, like, same. So, and that's really why I'm talking about this, if you really want to know. So, before we get to all that. But, he feels this level of distrust and this level of dislike for this guy, like extreme dislike. But he's being polite, he's being cordial. You don't want to piss off the only new vampires you've ever met in your life, right? Well, besides the one that they met in, I think, Western or Eastern Europe, that was what Armand refers to as a revenant. Basically, my interpretation is the uncultured swine of vampires. So, and then Claudia's there. Eventually, Santiago is trying to get Louis to stand up and go with him, but then that's when Armand and Claudia come out because Claudia stayed behind while Louis went and had his own moment. So they come out and everything, and then he starts looking at the other vampires in the area. And while he was leading down, prerequisite to all this, while he was first being introduced to their home, he saw all of these paintings depicting death and destruction. A lot of old, of course they're old paintings. This is back in, I don't know, 1700s. I don't actually know the date, so don't be mad at me. But, and it was really kind of hard for me to grasp all this while reading it. But eventually, it kind of describes one of the vampires say that they keep these around because it reminds them that humans are far more capable of evil than they are. But then later on, after Armand and Claudia come out and they're all together, Louis starts noticing the other vampires. He starts to pick up on other conversations going on about how they were talking about their victims and how people missed an opportunity or wasted, the key term is wasted, an opportunity to cause pain. Oh, you're like, well, you wasted an opportunity to kill a child. You wasted a perfect opportunity to make this man go mad. And it's that's what they really wanted. They wanted chaos. They wanted pain. They wanted to create all of this within the human beings. And so he then starts to think, because originally when he went to sit outside and Santiago first comes to talk to him, he's thinking about how he's disliked Lestat for all of these wrong reasons. Because the entire time, leading up to before Lestat's gone, he hates him almost because he feels like he's being, secretive with him. And then Louis finds out, oh, well, Lestat didn't know any more than I do or these people. So, oops. And so he has to come to terms with reality. He has to come to terms with the fact that his maker and, his first, his only friend for a long time, he hated, but for all of the wrong reasons, which, let me tell you, that sucks if you've ever had to go through that. And so he's already struggling with these two key aspects. And then, with art and all of this, and then it's like something building up inside of him. And he describes multiple times that he doesn't know how to describe or depict what's going on inside of him. He just feels it rising up like an overwhelming, unbearable feeling. And so, and it just leads him up to the point where he wants to leave. So after he, the conversations, after he's noticing the conversations, after, Armand and Claudia are back, he also starts to notice that all of them are dressed the same way, that they have all dyed their hair black, that they all wear black. Man, I have so many conflicting emotions about Claudia, but I don't blame her for any of it, because if you know Claudia's story, you can't really blame Claudia for anything. So these vampires, she always wears these nice pastel dresses. She has this beautiful curly blonde hair. She's like a little cherub angel. So it's just, that's Claudia. And then this one, Claustel or something, has the audacity to she's holding Claudia. They're all acting like Claudia is a child, even though they are all acutely aware that she is just as old as them. She is a grown-up woman inside, a 5-year-old's body. So, they start to, just fawn over her, and then Claudia, you can tell while reading about her that she's just so disturbed somehow, but it's Claudia, so she ain't gonna let another person know. She's really good at reservation and what's the term? I wrote it down. Uh, Disassociation, or I just heard the weirdest cat scream. I don't know what that is. I guess it's a cat outside. Sorry. Anyway, she is... Okay, it's not my cats. It's some cat outside. Actually, I should probably go check on that. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. Whew. So, well, I go out there and all the cats scatter, so my neighbor went out there too, and she was looking around. I'm like, oh, you come out here for the same thing? She's like, yeah, it was really loud. Well, I don't know where they went, but they're apparently fine. Anyway, disconnected. I was trying to describe a word for Claudia, but he mentioned several times that Claudia is so disconnected. Like, there's like a lack of attachment. So, anyway, I think I was talking about how they were basically, sorry, making fun of Claudia. So, then Louis then starts to be aware of how he might have done the same thing with Claudia. And that in its own right was a little disturbing. Because it's like, imagine how Claudia feels, like, during all of this. Because the main character is Louis, but then this really kind of starts to bring an insight to Claudia. Like, it's always like, we've been aware of what's happening, but now it's like, oh, shit. So, during all of this, you know, they're basically treating her like a doll, and the woman that was basically fondling over her and everything, being patronizing and passive aggressive, she says that Claudia shouldn't wear pastel things, that she should be wearing black. And I was like, who the fuck are you? I was like, and I love black, okay? Like, black clothes all day long. Give me the goth, black clothes, whatever. But, like, this is Claudia. This is our nice, pristine, loving, not really loving, but awesome Claudia. And so it just, everything about them makes him uncomfortable. And so eventually they leave. Because Armand, I think, had actually warned him to stay because he felt like they were going to be unsafe. Because basically, spoiler alert, Claudia and Louis basically kill Lestat, like, twice, or try to. And so Santiago mentions that he knew Lestat, but it's kind of also like, did you really, or are you just being an ass? So Louis, doesn't give him any answers, and Armand warns them against that as well, because they say that the only law that they have is to not kill other vampires. So awkward. Well, after that, Claudia kind of makes a statement back that makes Armand laugh. Basically, she had asked, what is the rule? And then she said something about how, she thought, it was really kind of funny. Oh, yeah, she's like, well, I was so afraid it was to be born like Venus out of the foam, as we were. So she was like, basically, and they leave. Well, Louis and Claudia get back, and oh my god, I have to talk about this. They leave, and God, this is why I love Louis, this is why I love and hate Louis. Because he's outside and it's raining. They step out from the theater and it's like purple dawn, like right before dusk, and it's kind of empty. But it's raining and it's peaceful, so it's like dreary but beautiful. And oh my god, if that isn't how I feel so much of the time when it rains, especially after, like, you ever, of course, you go over to someone's house or you meet someone for the first time and it's raining, and then like you are so ready to leave, and then you come back out, and even if it's dusky and dreary and rainy, you're like, I don't care, bitch, this is beautiful, because it's such a contrast to what you've been feeling. It's like nature is overwhelming you with her hug, and it's like, yes, be free. And so God, I loved it. And like, you can feel his relief when he describes the beauty of this rain. So they go back. Oh, and during the time that he was feeling all this in their coven's home or whatever, he's describing, in his head, he keeps thinking about a chair back in his hotel room, like purple velvet, in front of the fireplace, and he's just imagining sitting there in that chair because it's gonna be so comfy comparatively to where he's at now. And then when he finally makes it back, he sits right down in that chair, and he is just so exhausted. And this is where I kind of stopped reading, because just like Louis, I was on a journey not knowing why I felt the things that I felt, just that I was feeling them, just that I was taking in all of this information. And then he sits down, and then you kind of relax, and it's like, thank God he's away from them, because it's just, oh my god. So if you are into any supernatural thing, a lot of the times, like with vampires and werewolves, or I guess any supernatural creature, anytime someone, or anytime a group of people or things, creatures, whatever, and it's like humans are the same too. You get them in a group of people, and they kind of become assholes. Like, that's just how it is. Like, a lot of the books I read, especially with like vampires, once you're in a coven, like, there are other vampires that stay away from being in a coven because it makes you apathetic. It makes you sadistic. It brings out all of those animalistic qualities that, comparatively you wouldn't otherwise indulge in. So, after all of this, I realized something. And it's like I've known it. It's okay. You know those things that you just, you know internally, but it takes something else outside of yourself to really bring it to light? Well, that's how it was. And then he had a moment like this too, like with his whole Louis talking to Armand about the God and devil thing. It's like he described it so well. He's like, I have had all of these thoughts prior, but he never knew his actual opinions of them until he starts talking to Armand. And he had never had conversations like this with other people. So I felt that, man, because as a deep thinker, potentially overthinker, there are so many things that I think about all damn day, and I don't know really how I feel about them or my opinion on them until I describe it to another person. Like, I'll start talking to someone about what I've been thinking about, just talking like I've been thinking it, and then as I'm talking, I'm like, oh, I didn't know my conviction was that strong. Oh, I didn't know I had such an opinion. Oh, I hope I'm not sounding like an ass. So it's like, it's beautiful. And that's how he feels. And that's, after all of that, that's how I felt. Because I realized that the way Louis feels after that interaction is how I feel so much after I meet new people, or after I've been in a crowd of people that I cannot get along with, but I can't put my hand or finger on why. So, to go further into it, I actually am going to read this because I had to write it down. The best way I can describe it is like you have so much appreciation for life because of the pain you consistently endure in life. Without this pain, your empathy dies and you become like everyone else you despise because of their lack of true insight. You can be insightful, but that doesn't mean you have true insight. And that's a whole other topic. Anyway, so, and then I go on to say, excuse me. Whew. So, you're you're in a room full of people acutely aware of life and how it works. But everyone is trying to escape or justify their indignation. Then then when they see how you react, they reject you, provoke you, or hurt you. It's the ultimate line between sadism and masochism. You search for connection and find none in a room where that's all there should be. Then the only thing left is to escape with no real end to what you began searching for in the first place. So I never really knew how to put that feeling into words. And my cat just, hold on. Sorry, I had to spray my cat. She likes clawing my furniture. I'm trying to break her of that. So anyway, yeah. I've also felt like this a lot at like parties, and it makes you feel awkward, of course, because you're looking at everyone having fun, but then you're there and you're aware of so much that's going on, and that's their normal environment. That's what they do. But you go out to have fun, to try to have fun like everyone else. You go out to find connection, and then there's none to be found in a room full of people. Because a lot of the time, people, cliques, stereotypes, they're a thing, unfortunately, but they are. We as people group up with people that we find familiar, people that we can empathize with. So, these vampires enjoy pain. They are more animalistic. They forgot what it means to be human because they ignore their pain in order to cause other people pain, or they cause other people pain in order to ignore their pain. And it makes them feel superior, which is just the ultimate form of narcissism. And that is the complete opposite of Louis, okay? And so I really felt it. And I love this book. I'm not even done with it. And I've been loving the book, but that right there, the way that Anne Rice just wrote all of that, and I can basically talk for like 23 minutes about just one scene in this book, is just astonishing. It's beautiful. You should read it. And it really made me, as I was writing how I felt about it, it really made me, it made things click, like how people write things to create a type of atmosphere to make you aware or feel a certain thing. And that's why so many people, I assume, love Anne Rice, because she is so good at doing that. And I'm sure there is a lot more I could say on it, but man, I'm just in awe right now. I'm in awe because even though this is fictional, and even though this is like centuries ago, it doesn't matter. That same concept can be applied to today, and I'm sure a lot of other people feel this way too, but don't know how to articulate it, or don't know exactly what's going on. And it's because so many people enjoy pain, enjoy causing pain, enjoy laughing at it, even if they're not aware of it. Like, I personally have never liked when people make cruel statements and then they're like, oh, it's just a joke. Just because you're joking doesn't make you any less of an asshole, okay? It doesn't make it any better. In fact, it actually might make it worse because you're joking about something that's actually really serious. So, and I understand people use humor as a way to escape. I'm all for dark humor, but it's like certain things that you, I guess this is one of those things I can't really describe at this moment, but I guess there's a line, like, there's a line in pain. There's a point past where there's a level that you shouldn't really joke about when it comes to pain, if that makes sense. And if you do, it kind of gives a really good indication into who you are as an individual, and if you're more of a sadist than a masochist. So basically, I'm not someone that enjoys watching people suffer. Okay, it's not really something that I get my rocks off on. And it's like when you're in a group of people, they continuously joke about how everyone's making mistakes, how everyone, is stupid, or how they're a dumbass for their perception and all of this, and how it's like these people are using other people's faults as a way to feel superior when they are in fact no better than the people they are talking about, if not worse, actually. So I am so relieved to finally be able to discuss this and know what is going on. And I feel like, I guess it does have to do with a strong level of empathy. Now, I've never, been one of those people that's like, oh, yeah, I'm an empath or whatever. I would go more with highly sensitive person, which is actually more of a scientific term, which is more acceptable. So I would definitely go along with that. And there's, a whole bunch of genetic shit that goes into that, I think, as well. But anyway, if you're a highly sensitive person and you're watching this, just know I get it. You're not alone. And that's, I guess, really what matters, is because a lot of highly sensitive people, they feel alone in the world. Because a lot of other people, they try to ignore the pain because they don't want to feel it. Because everyone hates being human. But that's what we are. There's a level of acceptance that we all need to come to. Because pain is just a part of life. And I actually, I'm not saying I enjoy pain. Oh God, my wisdom teeth hurt. I'm ready to just fucking kill myself. No lie. But then I'm like, the whole time I'm like, it's okay. I'm going to be so happy when this is over. And it really makes me appreciate the times where I'm not in pain. It really just hits home, and it makes me feel more human, but not in a disgusting, grimy way. It makes me feel human in an appreciative, gratuitous way. I feel good. I feel humble. I don't feel like a narcissistic psychopath searching to destroy everyone else's lives because I want power. That's so not the level that I want to be on. And I really hope that if you do want to be on that level, you might want to rethink some things. Go for it. Balance, good versus evil, whatever. But that's really the thing, is a lot of people forget what pain really means. And, you can go into the scientific aspect, too. When if I, cut my arm, my brain, I feel pain because my brain is trying to tell me, hey, something is wrong, for me to fix it. Okay? Pain isn't just something to make you suffer because life just sucks so bad. It's an indication that things can be better, not that things are always going to be bad. And I think once you learn that, your whole perspective on life changes. You grow. You become someone new. You become someone who can really appreciate things for what they are and not what you expect them to be. And I'm just, it feels so good. But yeah, I think that's really the main point that I'm trying to discuss. I feel like if I keep talking about it, I'm really just gonna, repeat myself and continuously run on. So, I'm gonna stop here. It's already 30 minutes, so if you've taken this time to actually watch this video, I am so proud of you, and thank you so very much. It means a lot. I don't know who you are, but I love you. Also, please, if you love this book, if you know what I'm talking about, or you have any, contradictions or have any thoughts, please talk to me about them. I would love to talk about this book, especially what I've just talked about. So, thank you, and I hope you have a lovely evening.